Have you ever wondered which smartphone could actually survive the kinds of accidents that destroy most phones in seconds? Today, 5 smartphones are about to face a series of extreme survival tests. Every round gets harder, every failure is permanent, and by the end, only one phone will still be standing. And trust me, I did not expect the winner. Here are our 5 contestants. We have Phone 1, Phone 2, Phone 3, Phone 4, and Phone 5. They all look pretty similar at the start, but that won't last for long. Each phone begins fully powered on with a working display, responsive touchscreen, cameras functioning, and speakers working. The rules are simple. Every phone must complete each challenge. If a phone becomes completely unusable, it's eliminated. If it barely survives, it moves on to the next round. Let's begin. The first challenge is the pocket drop. This is the kind of accident almost everyone has experienced. You're pulling your phone out of your pocket and suddenly, it slips. Each phone is dropped from pocket height onto a hard concrete surface. Phone 1 lands flat on its back. It bounces once, but the screen lights up immediately. Phone 2 lands directly on one corner. That impact sounds much worse. Phone 3 spins in the air before hitting face down. Phone 4 lands almost perfectly flat. Phone 5 flips twice before crashing onto the concrete. Time to inspect the damage. Phone 1 has a tiny scratch. Phone 2 already has a chipped corner. Phone 3 somehow escaped without visible damage. Phone 4 is completely fine. Phone 5 picked up a small crack near the edge of the glass. Surprisingly, everyone survives the first test. But that was only the warm-up. Next comes the staircase tumble. Instead of one impact, each phone is sent bouncing down an entire flight of concrete stairs. Every step creates another opportunity for damage. Phone 1 tumbles end over end. Phone 2 slams against nearly every edge. Phone 3 takes one enormous bounce before continuing. Phone 4 lands awkwardly halfway down. Phone 5 cartwheels all the way to the bottom. The results are already looking much worse. Phone 1 now has several scratches. Phone 2's screen has spiderweb cracks spreading across one side. Phone 3 has deep dents around the frame. Phone 4's back panel is scratched badly. Phone 5's display still works, but another corner has cracked. No eliminations, yet. The competition is getting interesting. Now comes one of the biggest enemies of electronics. Water. Each phone is submerged in clean water for several minutes. Tiny bubbles escape from every device. Will any survive? Phone 1 comes out first. The display flickers for a moment, then stabilizes. Phone 2 seems okay at first, until the speaker starts sounding distorted. Phone 3 continues working perfectly. Phone 4 begins showing random touches across the screen before recovering. Phone 5 powers on normally. So far, everyone survives again. But hidden damage often appears later. Now it's time for pressure. Each smartphone is placed beneath increasing weight. The goal isn't to smash them instantly. It's to see which frame holds together longest. The weight increases. Slowly. Then more. Phone 2 starts making creaking noises. Phone 5 develops a noticeable bend. Phone 1 remains surprisingly rigid. Phone 3 barely flexes. Phone 4 begins separating slightly along one edge. Finally, the pressure stops. Inspection time. Phone 2's screen has expanded cracks. Phone 5's frame is visibly bent. Phone 4 has a slight gap where the back meets the frame. Phone 1 and Phone 3 look almost untouched. Things are starting to separate. Only the strongest designs are holding together. The next challenge is dust. Fine particles have ruined countless electronics over the years. Each phone is completely coated before being cleaned off. Most survive. But tiny particles can work their way into charging ports, speakers, and buttons. After cleaning, Phone 2's charging port becomes unreliable. Phone 4's volume buttons feel sticky. Phone 5's speaker volume drops slightly. Phone 1 and Phone 3 continue operating normally. At this point, one phone is clearly struggling. But it isn't over yet. If you're enjoying these survival experiments, make sure you subscribe, because the next challenges get much more intense. Now, heat. The phones are exposed to high temperatures inside a controlled environment. No direct flames, just relentless heat. Minute after minute passes. Phone 1 starts displaying a temperature warning. Phone 2 shuts itself off. Phone 3 keeps running. Phone 4 slows down dramatically. Phone 5 dims its screen. Once everything cools down, Phone 2 refuses to restart immediately. Several attempts later, nothing. Phone 2 has officially been eliminated. 4 phones remain. Things just became serious. The remaining phones now face repeated vibration and shaking. This simulates long-term wear from constant movement. After several minutes, Phone 5's bent frame begins separating slightly more. Phone 4 develops occasional screen flickers. Phone 1 remains stable. Phone 3 still behaves like nothing happened. Only 4 contestants remain. But another elimination feels close. Now comes the edge impact test. Instead of dropping the phones flat, each one lands directly on a corner. Corners concentrate enormous force into a tiny area. Phone 1 crashes hard. Phone 3 lands almost perfectly on its weakest point. Phone 4 bounces violently. Phone 5 lands with an awful metallic sound. The inspection reveals major changes. Phone 4 now has permanent vertical lines across the display. The touchscreen barely responds. That means Phone 4 is eliminated. 3 phones remain. Phone 1, Phone 3, Phone 5. The competition has become much tighter than expected. Our next challenge combines multiple hazards. Water, dust, drops, pressure, one after another. No time for recovery. Phone 5 is clearly struggling now. The bent frame allows more movement. The screen starts lifting slightly from the body. Phone 1 continues fighting. Phone 3 still refuses to show serious damage. After the final inspection, Phone 5 no longer detects charging consistently. Eventually, it shuts down. Phone 5 is eliminated. Only 2 smartphones remain. Phone 1, Phone 3. Both have survived everything so far. Now it's time for the ultimate challenge. A combination endurance test. Repeated drops. Pressure. Heat. Water exposure. Every surviving weakness will finally be exposed. Phone 1 survives the first sequence. Then the second. But during another hard impact, a loud crack echoes. The display flashes, flickers, then turns completely black. Button presses do nothing. Charging produces no response. Phone 1 is finished. That leaves only one survivor. Phone 3. The champion of today's survival tournament. It isn't perfect. Its frame is scratched. There are dents around the edges. The back has seen better days. But the touchscreen still works. The cameras still function. The speakers still play audio. The phone powers on normally. Against all expectations, Phone 3 survives every extreme challenge. What surprised me most wasn't just that one phone survived. It was how quickly small amounts of damage added up over multiple rounds. A tiny crack became a major weakness. A slight bend turned into structural failure. Every challenge made the next one even harder. And that's exactly why this tournament became so unpredictable. But today's winner has one final challenge waiting. In the next episode, the surviving champion won't be facing identical competitors anymore. Instead, an old smartphone will battle a brand new smartphone in the ultimate survival showdown. Will modern technology finally take the crown? Or will experience prove stronger than innovation? There's only one way to find out. Subscribe now, because you won't want to miss old phone versus new phone. Which one survived the ultimate challenge?